This is the foundation stone of the federal capital, and one of the foundation stones of democracy is parliamentary privilege. But to understand that, we have to rewind more than 300 years to the 4th of January 1642, when King Charles storms into Parliament with his troops behind him, demanding 5 members that he accuses of treason. He gets into Parliament and finds that the members are not there, so he turns to the Speaker, William Lenthal, and demands that he produce them. William Lenthal falls to his knees and says, "May it please your Majesty, I have neither the eyes to see nor the tongue to speak unless directed by this House, whose servant I am." From that point, England cascades into civil war. The King loses his head. Now that's all pretty traumatic, and the history of England after that is full of trauma. Get to 1689 and Parliament writes the Bill of Rights, and into that it puts parliamentary privilege, which is essentially immunity from prosecution, immunity from the sovereign ever again marching into Parliament House and demanding that members should present themselves to be arrested by him. Within the bounds of Parliament, Parliament is sovereign, and that is actually written into the soil right down here. The Parliament of the Commonwealth of Australia. The line on the edge marks the boundary of the precincts of the Parliament. So, from this line up, the Speaker of the House of Representatives and the President of the Senate are the law. The police have to ask permission to go in. Now, they can execute a search warrant, but they can't do it in an improper way, otherwise they can be in contempt of Parliament, and Parliament can fine and imprison people. So in order to make the smooth running of both society and Parliament work, there is a memorandum of understanding between the Australian Federal Police and the presiding officers of Parliament, and it lays out the way in which the Australian Federal Police should proceed if a search warrant is to be executed inside Parliament House. Now, the first thing that they have to do is let the presiding officers know that they want to execute a search warrant. Then, if they get the permission of the presiding officers, they should tell the member that they want to execute the search warrant. They should do it at a time that suits the member. They shouldn't do it when the House is sitting. Now, if the member claims parliamentary privilege, or there is another thing that the member could claim, that the document has a public interest immunity, then the evidence that's collected should be sealed in bags and handed to the presiding officers. And then it's up to Parliament's committee, the Committee on Privileges, to decide whether or not that information will be released. Now, Senator Conroy has already claimed parliamentary privilege over documents that were seized from his officers and from one of his staffers in May. He's now saying that he'll claim parliamentary privilege over the rest. It will be up to Parliament to decide whether or not the police get that information.